This is one of the most evil men in Texas history. In 1994, 17-year-old Napoleon Beasley was the president of his school class. He ran track, played baseball, did competitive weightlifting, and was planning to go to the Marines after high school. His father was a steel worker and city councilman, and his mother was a secretary to a judge. His life looked normal to everyone around him, but he had a secret life. He sold since he was 13 and carried guns. On April 18, 1994, Beasley and his friend Cedric Coleman drove from their hometown in Grapeland, Texas, to Corsicana, Texas, 78 miles away. Cedric was trying to meet girls at Corsicana College, but Beasley had a .45 caliber pistol on him and kept talking about stealing a car. Cedric talked him into waiting the next day. On April 19, 1994, Beasley bragged to his friends that he would be driving a Mercedes-Benz soon. Later that night, Beasley borrowed his mother's car and picked up Cedric and Cedric's brother Donald. Once again, Beasley had his pistol, and he also had a sawed-off shotgun. He and his buddies drove from Grapeland to Corsicana. After stopping at a Walmart, they saw a Lexus they wanted to carjack. They followed the vehicle for 71 miles to Tyler, Texas, but they lost it. They pulled over outside a restaurant and were about to carjack a Mercedes-Benz, but the driver saw Beasley with a gun and ran back inside the restaurant. They were about to give up and return to Grapeland, but decided to look for one more car. Soon, they spotted a yellow 1987 Mercedes-Benz driven by 63-year-old John Luttig, a Korean War veteran whose son was a respected judge. His wife Bobby was in the passenger seat. As the couple pulled into the driveway of their Tyler, Texas home, Beasley ran up with the pistol while Donald followed with the shotgun. Beasley shot John in the head. He was alive, but stunned. Beasley went to the passenger side and shot at Bobby. She wasn't hit, but fell to the ground. Realizing John was still alive, Beasley returned to the driver's side of the car and shot John in the head a second time. Beasley asked Donald if Bobby was still alive, and Donald told him she was still moving. Beasley wanted Donald to shoot her, but he refused. Beasley was going to shoot her a second time, but Donald stopped him by recanting his previous statement and saying she was dead. Beasley went through John's pockets and got the keys to the Mercedes. As he backed out, he crashed the car into a wall. He drove the vehicle for a few blocks before leaving it behind and rejoining the Colemans, who followed in his mother's car. The teens returned to Grapeland after the senseless crime. Beasley threatened his accomplices not to tell anyone about the crimes, or he would kill them too. However, Beasley didn't follow his own advice about keeping quiet, and he told a friend what he and the Coleman brothers had done. The three teens were arrested 2 months after the crime. The Colemans pleaded guilty to federal and state charges. They also testified against Beasley at his trial. Both received life sentences. Donald remains incarcerated and will be eligible for parole in 2034, while Cedric is not listed on the Texas inmate search, meaning he could be free, dead, or out of state. Beasley went to trial in 1995. With the Colemans and Mrs. Luttig testifying against him, there was no way he could beat the case. He was found guilty of capital murder on March 13, 1995. He was sentenced to death at a later hearing. When his death date came on May 28, 2002, the 25-year-old did not have a final meal. He was marched to the chamber, where the warden asked if he wanted to make a final statement, but he looked directly at his victim's daughter and said no. His body was injected with poison, and he was pronounced dead at 6:17 p.m. A statement was released to the public after his execution in which he apologized for his actions, but also bashed the justice system for not letting him live. His final words in that statement were, "No one wins tonight. No one gets closure. No one walks away victorious."